Hi dear students, welcome to the next video. We were seeing muscles of upper limb and we have seen some muscles on the forearm, arm, shoulder region. So if you have not watched that video, please watch that. Now, today we will be seeing intrinsic muscles of hand, the intrinsic muscles of the hand. So before I start, please subscribe the channel so that you don't miss any videos. So let's begin. So muscles of the hand can be divided into intrinsic and extrinsic group of muscles. Intrinsic muscles are the muscles which are originating and inserting into the hand. They are not going away from the hand. They are mostly small muscles. Whereas extrinsic muscles are the muscles which may have origin or insertion point out of the hand. For example, this muscle, palmaris longus, its origin is in the forearm and it's inserted in the hand. So this is a muscle which is coming from somewhere and reaches the hand. This is an example of extrinsic group of muscle. Now whereas intrinsic muscles are these muscles, abductor pollicis brevis. This is a muscle originating from the hand and inserted within the hand. So they are not going out of the hand. So this is called intrinsic muscles. Now the main function of this intrinsic muscles of the hand, they are for the fine movements. They have small motor unit. So they do precision movements. There are 20 intrinsic muscles which can be divided into some regions. This region is called thenar region. Thenar region muscles are abductor pollicis brevis, flexor pollicis brevis. In between this muscle, there is another muscle deep to this muscle, these muscles, that is opponens pollicis. They are the muscles of thenar region, and there is another muscle which is placed deep, that is placed laterally. This is adductor pollicis. Adductor pollicis. Now hypothenar muscles are placed here. They are abductor digiti minimi, flexor digiti minimi. In between this, another muscle, that is opponens digiti minimi. So these are opponens digiti minimi is lying deep. So that is placed here in between this. We need to cut these muscles to see the opponens digiti minimi. Another muscle which is lying in superficial fascia, palmaris brevis. Let's see other muscles. Lumbricals. Lumbricals muscles, they are attached to the tendon of flexor digitorum profundus. The meaning of lumbrical is worm, worm-like. So this muscle looks like a worm, small muscles, and they are attached to the flexor digitorum profundus. Flexor digitorum profundus tendons. The first lumbrical arises from the radial side of the tendon of index finger. So we number the lumbricals from lateral to medial. So the first lumbrical arising from the lateral side of the tendon of index finger. This is the tendon for flexor digitorum profundus, tendon of flexor digitorum profundus. Second lumbrical, which is arising from radial side of tendon of middle finger. Third lumbrical, which is arising from both the sides of the tendons of middle and ring finger. Whereas the last lumbrical arises from the contiguous sides of tendons of ring and little finger. So these are the origins of lumbrical muscles. Now first and second lumbrical are unipinnate muscles, whereas third and fourth are bipinnate muscles. Insertion of the lumbricals. The tendon of first, second, third and fourth lumbricals passes backward on the radial side of second, third, fourth and fifth metacarpophalangeal joints, and they are inserted to the dorsal digital expansion of corresponding digits. So dorsal digital expansion is the expansion which is formed or which is seen on the dorsal aspect of the hand, which is connected to the extensor tendons. So it is attached to that, and also the metacarpophalangeal joints. Nerve supply, the first and second lumbricals, they are supplied by median nerve. Now third and fourth are supplied by deep branch of ulnar nerve. Now it's easy to remember this. Why? Because to understand the flexor digitorum profundus, if you know the flexor digitorum profundus nerve supply, you can easily remember this. Flexor digitorum profundus lateral half is supplied by median nerve and the medial half is supplied by ulnar nerve. So specifically speaking, the lateral half is supplied by the anterior interosseous nerve of median nerve, flexor digitorum profundus, right? And the medial half is supplied by the ulnar nerve. Now, since the lumbricals are originating from the flexor digitorum profundus, these two are originating from the lateral side, so they can get supply from the median nerve, whereas the medial two are arising from the medial aspect of flexor digitorum profundus and they are supplied by ulnar nerve. This is an easy way to remember the lumbricals nerve supply. Action. The action will be flexing metacarpophalangeal joint and extending interphalangeal joints of the digits into which they are attached. So flexion of metacarpophalangeal joint and the extension of interphalangeal joint is an action of the lumbricals. Saluting action. Palmar interosseae are another group of muscles which are seen between the metacarpals, or they are filling the space between the metacarpals. There are another interosseae which are called as dorsal interosseae. So palmar interosseae are placed more towards the palmar aspect, dorsal interosseae are placed towards dorsal aspect. So let's see the palmar interosseae here. Origin. The first palmar interosseae muscle originating from medial side of base of first metacarpal bone. Second palmar interosseae originating from medial half of palmar aspect of shaft of second metacarpal bone. Now the third palmar interosseae, which is originating from lateral part of palmar aspect of shaft of fourth metacarpal bone. Then the fourth, last one, originating from lateral part of the palmar aspect of shaft of fifth metacarpal bone. So here the first and the second, right, they are originating from the medial side, whereas the third and fourth are originating from the lateral aspect. Now all these muscles are unipennate muscles. Insertion. Each muscle is inserted into the dorsal digital expansion of the digit. So here now lumbricals, palmar interosseae and the dorsal interosseae all will be inserted. They will have one insertion point to the dorsal digital expansion. But it has a bony attachment as well. Let's see that. The first muscle is inserted to the medial side of the thumb. The second muscle is inserted to the medial side of index finger. The third muscle, that is inserted to the lateral side of fourth digit, and the fourth one is inserted to the lateral side of fifth digit. I repeat, the first one inserted to the medial side of thumb, the second one inserted to the medial side of index finger, the third one inserted to the lateral side of fourth digit, and the fourth one is inserted to the lateral side of fifth digit. Now, to understand, to remember this easily, you should know that the function of palmar interrotio. Palmar interrotio, the function of palmar interrotio is adduction. Adduction. Now, adduction, the middle finger is the axis for adduction and abduction. So adduction is a movement where the other fingers like the medial fingers, the four fingers, you know, say four fingers, the index, the ring finger and the little finger, they move towards the middle finger. That is called adduction. Because thumb, we are not talking about thumb, adduction is different because it is placed at a 90-degree plane with the other fingers. So this adduction is different, so we are not talking about that. We are talking about the medial four fingers, and the middle finger is excluded because it is in an adducted position, and that is why it is the axis. Now, the index finger, when it moves this way, that is called adduction. The ring finger moves this way, adduction. Little finger moves this way, that is adduction. So to cause this movement, the muscle has to attach in that way. That is why the palmar interrotio is attached this way, so that when it contracts, it can cause adduction. At the same time, this is attached to the lateral side, causing adduction. This is attached to the lateral side, causing adduction. Right, now here this one, the second one, is attached to the medial side because then only it can cause the adduction. So if you know that the function of palmar interrotio, that is palmar, PA, palmar interrotio adduction, PAD, you can remember pad. So you can easily understand the insertion point of it. Now, the first palmar interrotio, it can be absent as well, because the palmar interrotio, no doubt, it causes adduction of the thumb, but we have another muscles which are specifically for the thumb, that is called adductor pollicis. So since we have this big muscle there, not big muscle, it is a small muscle, but there is a muscle which is for the adduction of the thumb. So sometimes the first palmar interrotio may be absent as well. Now all the palmar interrotio are supplied by deep branch of ulnar nerve. Deep branch of ulnar nerve. Ulnar nerve gives a branch in the hand called deep branch. Now action, it causes adduction of the fingers, and another action is flexion at metacarpophalangeal joint and extension at interphalangeal joint. Again, this is a saluting action. This action is also done by the lumbricals. Now coming to the dorsal interrotio. Now dorsal interrotio, all the dorsal interrotio are bipinnate muscles. Now before I start, let me tell you, dorsal interrotio causes abduction. Abduction. So you can remember D, A, D for dorsal interrotio, A, B for abduction, DAB. Now there are 4 dorsal interrotio. The first dorsal interrotio is originating from the shaft of first and second metacarpals. Second one is originating from shaft of second and third. The third one originating from shaft of third and fourth, and the fourth one is originating from shaft of fourth and fifth. This is the origin. Now remember, we are going to see the abduction, right? Let's see how this muscle is inserted to the fingers so that it can cause abduction. Now insertion, each muscle is inserted to the dorsal digital expansion. So here also you can see the dorsal digital expansion, which is this one, and into the base of proximal phalanx of that digit. Now which digit it is inserted? So let's see that. So this is the middle finger. Now middle finger can abduct in this way as well as this way. On either side it can abduct, and the other fingers will abduct, will move away from the middle finger in abduction, right? So let's see that. So the first dorsal interosseous is inserted to the lateral side of index finger, so that when it can contract, it can move the index finger into this way, abduction. Now the second one is inserted to the lateral side of middle finger. Now this muscle, when it is contracting, it can move the middle finger to this way, that is abduction. Now let's see the third one, inserted to the medial side of middle finger. Yes, now this, when it contracts, it can move the middle finger to this way, that is also abduction. Now fourth one, that is inserted to the medial side of fourth digit. Yes, now this one, it can move the fourth digit away from the medial plane because this muscle is contracting. So this is causing abduction. Now when you notice here, you can see that the dorsal interosseous, right, the second and third, they are inserted to the middle finger, so that this one, when it contracts, it can move the middle finger this way, and this one, when it contracts, it can move the middle finger this way. So both are abductors. Both can cause abduction. Now look at this here. We have seen the palmar interosseous. In palmar interosseous, the function is adduction. Now already the middle finger is in adducted position. That is why there are no palmar interosseous which are reaching or which are attached to the middle finger, because middle finger need not get adducted by muscles because it is positioned in an adducted position. Whereas here, two dorsal interosseous are attached to the middle finger for its abduction in both direction. Nerve supply of dorsal interosseous, all are supplied by deep branch of ulnar nerve. Actions: abductor of fingers, as we discussed, flexion at metacarpophalangeal joint and extension at interphalangeal joints. Thank you.